So, hi guys, I've got a special guest with me today, Nurse Nzi. Nurse Nzi is a mother, she's an author, she's a TikToker, a YouTuber, uh, she's a career strategist, she's a coach, she's a mentor, um, among many other things. Hi, Nurse Nzi, how are you doing today?
Hi, Shola. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good,
I've
good.
spent a lot of time looking at your TikTok, looking at your YouTube, and I think you're doing a great thing. You
Oh,
talk a lot
thank you.
about career,
Yeah,
what people can do, how people can do a personal statement, how they
yeah,
can progress to the next stage of their career. And
yeah.
I think you're doing a great thing. Thank you very
Oh,
much for
thank you
that.
so much. Thank
Okay.
you.
So I just wanted you to introduce yourself and tell us what you do for work.
Okay, so I'm Nzi, Nurse Nzi, as people know me. I currently work as a care manager for a care company. On the side of that, I work as a career development coach. So that's helping people go from one level to the next level. I hate using the bandings because with the bandings, people think they're just stuck in it. I found that you can go a lot further when you just stop assessing things based on banding. Someone could be a band five, but making a lot more money than a band six or seven because the role is just in a different environment. So, yes, I help people make decisions that are suited to their lifestyle when it comes to career.
That's really good. I like the fact that you touch upon banding because I always say to people that I create my own banding. I don't follow the status quo. I
Yes,
create my own banding, and people should not be scared to do the same.
yes,
There's so many things that you can do to create your banding, and you don't always have to be cocooned in this shell of the banding system. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Definitely. So what I want to do is I want to explore your role as a care manager. I want you to tell me a bit about what the role entails, please.
So I've only been with the role for a short time, but in that short time, I've learned so much. Being a care manager is dealing with all aspects of managing packages. So when
Mhm.
you get patients come out of hospital, but they want to stay within their own home as opposed to going into a care home or going into assisted living, they can stay within their own home, and then we provide the carer that will stay with them long term to look after them. It's a little bit like domiciliary care, but it's more long term as opposed to coming in for an hour and then leaving them and going home. And the key is just to promote independence and to keep encouraging people to not lose the skills that they once had prior to going into hospital. Yeah.
Oh, that's really great. I know that within the healthcare industry, there's been a lot of emphasis on promoting independence and
Yeah.
actually making sure that people are as independent as they can be for as long as they can. So I think that's really, really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk to me a bit more about the career development aspect side of things as well. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so I started that once I finished uni, and it began because I saw that there wasn't really much out there in terms of nursing career coaching or coaching around career development for nurses. Myself, when I graduated, I was told to go straight into the hospital, gain as much skills as I can, and then specialize in whatever area I was interested in. But my heart really wanted to go into primary care. And primary care is basically caring for someone in the community. So I decided, yeah, I'm going to go in those. And then somehow I ended in primary care. So I worked as a general practice nurse. And then I decided to stay within primary care. But I found that there was no one around to ask about what do I do if I want to move to this, or what do I do if I want to change bandings or change career completely, still stay within nursing. So I did a lot of research. I spent nights just reading and trying to find out very, very early on my nursing career. And I found that actually, like you mentioned before about the bandings, that the bandings are not always what to look at. So from qualifying 3 months after, I was able to obtain what would be a band six role, but just as a 3 month post qualified nurse, which doesn't normally happen within the NHS. within the NHS, unless you've passed your preceptorship and unless you've been with the trust for some time, maybe 6 months to a year, there's no way for you to just skip a banding like that. But I found that actually in the community, it wasn't just based on the amount of years that you've been working for the companies, but it was based on the skills that you carry and the transferable skills that you can bring over from different disciplines. Prior to doing nursing, I studied law. So there's a lot of very literature driven skills that I had, management skills, leadership skills. And then also during my training, I worked as a mental health support worker. So I was bringing in mental health aspects and dealing with challenging and complex behaviors that if I had stayed in general nursing, I wouldn't have been able to gain. So all those skills allowed me to see that actually, when you transfer that into different roles, that's what people are looking for. There's certain adult roles that have aspects of mental health that end up going to mental health nurses because general nurses don't have mental health training as such. And so I was actually the first adult nurse to be given that position within the place that I worked. They were looking for mental health or learning disability nurse, but because I was able to sell myself based on the skills that I had, they deemed me competent for the role and they gave me the role. So it just goes to show, like, going after what you want doesn't have to have a banding, or there doesn't necessarily have to be a structure that is made by someone else. And like you rightfully said, you make your own structure. So yeah, that's kind of like how I got into career. I assessed all the different skills and all the different information that I learned throughout that process and kind of put it in place so that if people come to me and they're like, oh, how can I go from this role to that role? I've got a workbook or a guide to showing them how to do that. And a lot of times it's not that complicated.
Yeah. Oh, that's really, really good. I mean, I know that there are lots of people who are coming to the country for the first time. There are even lots of people who have been in the country for a long time who don't know some of these things that you're sharing with us today. I
Yeah.
mean, I could definitely relate to what you're saying, because one of the most popular video on YouTube, and one that I've done a video on, is how people like myself, who used to be an accountant, can merge our degree with our nursing degree.
Yeah.
And how somebody like yourself, who did a first degree in law, can
Hmm.
merge their law degree with their nursing degree. And also, like you said, you used to be a mental practitioner, but you were able to actually merge those two skills together. And now, with the days of comorbidities, where you've got a mental health patient having physical disabilities, you've got a physical health patient having mental illness. So
Hmm.
again, it's always important to merge those skills. And one
Yes.
of the things that we were talking about offline was that, one of the things that I do is I do CHC, and I actually train people. And
Hmm.
when I went to apply for my first ever CHC role,
Hmm.
on the application, they said, we want somebody who's got 2 years experience. At the time, I had 6 month experience, but I made
Mm.
sure that when I went in there, I knew
Hmm.
exactly what I was talking about. And after my interview, I was told that we're actually going to change our criteria now, that we don't have a time span on our applications
That's
anymore.
amazing. That is
Yeah,
incredible.
because if you can understand what they want from you, the
Yeah.
expectation, and you can deliver at an interview,
Yeah.
then what does it matter? And
Yeah.
again, people need to have the understand that they can actually move from areas to area, either to get that higher banding or to get that higher
Yeah.
pay, or to
Yeah.
actually branch out. Like,
Yes.
another video that is very popular
Absolutely.
is specialist areas in which people can work. Expert
Yes.
witness, leader reviews. There's so many
Exactly. Oh
areas
wow.
that we
Yeah.
can work as nurses, and we should not limit ourselves. Very important that we don't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100% agree with you. I think you couldn't have put it any better than that, because I think the problem is people are unaware. And that's
Yeah.
why I created the platform where I just have chats with people. So, where are you now? Where are you trying to go? Most of the time, people just want financial stability, but they don't know the path to that. And even within nursing, like, I love nursing and that's why I'm in it. But the most money I've made has been outside nursing. Do you see what I mean? So even as nurses, we are not just limited to that nursing role. You can
No,
start your own business, you can do other things on the side, but people don't know about all the different things that your nursing degree can open those doors to. So, and I think it's
definitely.
important to have people like yourself and people like me that are sharing information every day to say,
Yeah.
hey, this is what's happening there, and this is what's happening in this industry. So yeah.
It's really, really good. And I think it's something that we need more of and
Yes.
something that we need to see more of. And that's
Yes.
why I said off camera that we need to see more long
Yeah.
YouTube videos on your channel.
It's coming. It's coming.
That's really good. That's really good. So, on day-to-day basis, what are some of the things that your consultancy client come up with? What is the demand? What are they looking for?
There's two sides to it. There's students who come to me, and then there's professionals who come to me. Sometimes students come to me to prepare themselves for what the nursing world is. A lot of the time, the students want assistance with their personal statements or writing essays and stuff like that. So they'll write the essay and I proofread it. But with the professionals, it's more so they're fed up with the system, they're fed up with where they are, they feel like they've given so much of themselves and they're not getting to where they feel like they should be. And we have a general informal talk about, okay, so what do you see for yourself? Because a lot of the times people don't know what they want and they just need a little bit of guidance based on their lifestyle and themselves to kind of prompt them and signpost them in the right direction. So for example, I had a client who loved cardiology, everything to do with cardiac care. However, she was working in an oncology ward, so it didn't make sense. You love cardiac, then why not work in a place where you love? But because the oncology pays a bit more than the cardiac wards do, she felt like, well, I will go somewhere where I'm getting the money because the thing that I love, I'm not getting the money there. And I just help her to say, well, actually, with your skills and your knowledge, you can go for a specialist cardiac role and get more money than both roles combined. And that's what she ended up doing. She found the job. And I was like, you see, sometimes you just need people to point you in the right direction. And then the rest is history. So yeah, that's kind of
That's,
how
that's
some of the clients go.
That's really good. I mean, like I said, off air that what I do some trainings. I'm a
Yeah.
trainer,
Yeah.
and I always say to people that don't let frustration make the decisions for you. You
Yes.
need to make the decision before you get to that point where you're burnout, where you're
Mhm.
tired, where you've
Yeah.
got injured. Because a lot
Yeah.
of the people that come to me, they come to me when there's something has happened.
Yes.
And they come, we have the conversation. As soon as things die down, they go back to their old ways, and that's it.
Yes.
So, a lot of the time it's very important that we take action. And I
Yeah.
think personally, the nature of the roles that we engage in, for example, doing a 12-hour shift or doing a night shift, limits us from actually thinking outside of the
Yeah.
box and
Yeah.
actually creating those opportunities for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, you really need to take yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if I
Mm-hmm.
need thinking time when I used to work on the ward, I'll take a week off.
Yeah.
It might take me 2 days to recover from my shift. And then after that, I've got a bit more thinking time and I can
Yeah.
actually start to strategize and think about the things that I want to do. For,
Absolutely.
for
Yeah.
those nurses who are coming from overseas and who are
Mm-hmm.
looking to progress in their career, what are
Mm-hmm.
some of the advice that you have for them? Obviously, they might be limited in knowledge, limited in
Mm-hmm.
information. What are some of the things that you're going to tell them if they come to you?
I would say don't be afraid to also apply for those band six, band seven roles. Because a lot of the time people apply only for the entry level roles because they think, well, this is my first time in the UK, so I'm just going to go with what's safe. But actually, if you've got the skills, all you need is the confidence to sell yourself. If you manage to get to the point of gaining an interview, that that is basically their approval that you are potentially someone they will hire, and you have to carry that confidence and not play yourself down. A lot of the time I feel like people that lack confidence in themselves or what they carry, it conveys, and when the interviewer or other people see that, it may make them feel like they are not capable of doing the job. But it's not even that they're not capable or they don't have the skill and knowledge to carry out the role. It's just that that one day they were nervous and they didn't do as well as they could do. So
Yeah.
take your time, research the companies, try and find out what their career ladder is, and go a step higher if that's what you want. If it's not what you want, that is also fine, but don't be afraid for going after those roles. And like I said, there are so many roles outside the NHS that are like they're giving out tier 2 visas, but nobody knows about it because all people hear is I have to work in the NHS. For example, there's Lloyd's Pharmacy that I worked for. The banding, because it's a specialist role, is band 6, band 7, and they are giving out tier 2 visas. So you just have to do a bit of proactive research and not kind of rely on people to give you the information, but go and look for information, go and seek for yourself what's out there. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Well, that's really good. And one last thing that I want to add to what you've just said is that
Mhm.
when you're looking at an application and it says you need 2 years experience, or you're a general nurse and they're looking for a mental health nurse, but you in yourself feel that you can actually do that role, apply for it.
Yes.
Don't shy away from it. I, like you said, you apply for that role and they were looking for a mental health nurse. I
Mhm.
said, I applied for a role. They were looking for somebody that's got 2 years experience. I had 6 months and I got the job. So
Mhm.
again, sometimes you need to look past what has been written down, and actually
Exactly.
it should give you a motivation to actually put more effort in your personal statement, explain
Yeah.
yourself clearly in your personal statement, and
Yeah.
actually put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Nurse Nzi, it's been really great talking to you. For those who are looking for service from you, where can they find you?
So I have a link in my bio. It's pretty much in all my bios, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. And that is a calendar link with my availability on there, and you can just book a discovery session or whatever the service is that you're looking for. Like I said, I provide services to students, professionals. I provide services to professionals who aren't even nurses. I kind of signpost people when it comes to career, how to then gain that confidence or gain the skill to level up.
No, really, really great. And I'll leave the link to your Instagram, to your YouTube in the description box below. Nurse Nzi, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Shola. It's been great.
Cheers.